Okay, so Radical Perspective, the 15th entry, just flipped open to it. It was entitled, "There is a quickening spirit abroad in the earth." The entry was as follows. It is written, the first man, Adam, became a living soul. The last Adam, Jesus, became a quickening spirit. 1 Corinthians 15:45. The power of God to revitalize us is astonishing. In Christ, we are learning to partner with resurrection life in all its forms. His capacity to impart spiritual life and momentum, there's that momentum, acceleration, is amazing. Quicken means that we are always empowered to respond to his voice immediately. He can change things in us, inside of us, super fast. The eyes of the Lord move to and fro throughout the earth to show himself strong on behalf of people who belong to him. 2 Chronicles 16:9a. Ask the Lord to quicken you in the spirit. Ask him to revitalize a particular part of your life. Listen to what he says and get ready to run. That was what I woke up to when I read that from the dream I had the night before with the car with the number 15 on it. Okay. Now, after that, I actually called a friend of mine who's very prophetic, and believe it or not, believe it, because the Lord sets these kinds of things up sometimes. I just felt to call him. I called him, and that morning, when I called him, he had just been spending time with the Lord, and the Lord brought him right to that exact same scripture, and the Lord was speaking to him about quickening those things from Romans chapter 8. A quickening spirit, just like in Romans chapter 8. So, now, the next night, I had a second dream. And of course, the race car speaks of a few things, but it definitely speaks of an accelerated season. Now, in this next dream, I actually meet Canada. Canada at this time did not know who she really was. It was fuzzy. It was fuzzy. And once you know your identity, you can get into your destiny a lot quicker. And so the encouraging thing is, about what I'm about to share with you this dream is, Canada was about to come into a clear, 3D clear image of who she was. And the way it was presented to me, it wasn't after a certain culture. It was after the identity of who we are in heaven, which of course brings the unity. The bride of Christ as well was in this particular dream symbolized over Canada, symbolized. In different countries she might look a different way, but she was symbolized the way she was in this dream for a particular purpose. If you want to know more, I go into in-depth of this in the videos to follow. I'm just giving you a quick video here, which hopefully will be less than 5 minutes. Okay, so the second dream. Okay. It's the dream takes place. It's like a commemoration of. It's like a Canada Day. It's like Canada Day. That's what my dream was. It was daytime. People are around and they were honoring about things for Canada, and it was a great big outdoor park. And my friend, actually a prophetic friend of mine, was walking with me, and we saw this orange red tape. And just like you would in real life, he plows through the orange red tape. There's this archaic looking piece of machinery from the past, and we didn't know what it was. So we go on the other side of the tape, and then there's this woman standing beside us, and I knew her my whole life, and he did as well, but it was like we both knew we knew her, but it wasn't said who she was. We just knew we knew her. She was carrying around a picture of herself, and she didn't know whose picture it was. Actually, she didn't even know whose picture it was. Anyhow, he turns on the machine, and it goes, makes all this crazy noise. I'm freaking out because I'm like, oh my gosh, we're going to get caught. They're going to kick us out, take us out of this, because we went behind the orange red tape that we weren't supposed to, and we're going to get in trouble. Okay, so then there's all these logs, and what it's doing is whittling away the middle section of the log, debarking them. And but lo and behold, it's debarking the center part of the one log, and it forms a 3D image. A 3D crystal clear face and neck and shoulder, whatever, of this woman who was standing beside us. And we all gasped, all three of us. She did, I did, Rob did. We look at her, and simultaneously she looks at us, and all at the same time we're like, oh my gosh, that's you. And then she's like, oh my gosh, that's me. And the 3D image pops through her photograph. You know how dreams are, anything can happen in dreams. So it pops through, and you can see a 3D image of who she was. And, yay. And, okay, now, just like the flag behind me here, the origins of Canada, you know, the first settlers were white, and, of course, the indigenous people groups who were here first, and the First Nations. And so she was both. She was, like, mixed, just like the flag. She was half-half. And I knew that instinctively in the dream, that she had both inside of her. And she looked a little bit darker skinned as well, to symbolize that. Anyhow, okay, next part of the dream. We go to this other section. Again, if you want to hear more on the meanings of these things, you can go into the next video that I've created on this. Okay. I go into this large area. No. First, I go into this arena in the evening at night. And it's not night, sorry, it's daytime. But it's dark inside because they're about to do a show, just like they do at Calgary Stampede or Edmonton Exhibition. You know, it's like you go inside for one of those shows. But for some reason, I didn't stay there. I left, and I journeyed on. And now I was on my own walking. And there was like a big designated parking lot, like paved out space with a big massive fence around the whole thing. And they'd had some kind of ribbon cutting in there as well. But I didn't know. I just saw some ribbon, but I asked somebody, because I must have just missed it. I said, hey, what went on here? You know, do you know what's going on here? Because everybody seems to have gone. What happened? And a girl said to me, or somebody said to me anyway, oh, didn't you hear? There was a ribbon cutting. Somebody just bought out. It was a Christian just bought out Rogers Communication. I was like, wow. I was like, that's great. I was like, this is amazing. I was amazed at that. Again, there's more meanings to that, but I'm not going to get into that for the sake of time. And I'm already at 7 minutes. Okay, so halfway through the dream here. The next part, I go to this, I go back to the parking lot, and all of a sudden there's 3 other people around a vehicle, and the 4 of us are chatting it up. So beside me was this shoulder-length lady, pretty lady, and then across from me was this woman that looked like perfection. And when I say that, I mean it was like an inner beauty that came out of her, but she looked really flawless as well on the outside. Like no flaw, like no blemish. There was no blemish. That's what I mean by that. And then when she spoke, it was with such kindness. And when she spoke, it was more what came out of her. Like the force, the essence of who she was came out of her. And it was just unselfishness. It was unselfishness and gentleness and kindness. And she was just beautiful. And I got a zoom on her teeth, and that represents unity, which is over Canada. And she had perfect teeth all in a row, perfectly set teeth. I got like a zoom close up on her teeth. Then we were asking each other's, and the other lady, there's another lady who I haven't met in real life yet, and I'm not sure who she was, but we all spoke of what we drove. So I asked the Bride of Christ what she drove, and that's who the Lord let me know who that symbolized. And over Alberta for sure, and I believe over Canada. And she said, I drive a motorbike. I'm like, a motorbike? And then I was showing it, and it was like an army motorbike, though. It wasn't like a Harley or a speedster bike. It was like a army bike, like a messenger bike. And so that was interesting. Then the lady, I said, you know, it made me think of speed when I was talking to her, you know, a motorbike, driving fast. And I said, you know, I had a dream last night, and I said in the dream, I was calling out for my sister, and I was just supposed to get into this souped up NASCAR. And so I explained the dream to them, you know, just like I'm telling you right now from the dream I had the night before. And then the lady beside me says, "Oh yeah," she goes, "Well, I work at the racetrack." And I'm like, "Really?" I'm like, "Which racetrack is that?" And she said, "The Canada Dominion racetrack." I was like, wow. So then I asked her, I said, "Oh, I forgot to tell you. Not only did I have the dream with the race car, but in real life, I actually rode in 2 races, car races, and in Wetaskiwin at the Alberta racetrack for what was called the Faster Pastor race. And I got to go because I did young adult stuff. And so I was doing I got to go. And it was such an adrenaline rush. And actually, I won one of my heats. It was really cool. Yeah, not the whole race, but I won one of my heats. But because my car stalled the second time, I was at the very back and I didn't have a chance. I passed maybe 4 vehicles, but you only have 10 laps. So I wasn't, not making excuses, but hey, maybe I could have won. But anyway, okay. That's a little side note. Okay, so I told him this. I said, yeah, I said, I was in these, got to be in 2 car races. So then I asked her, where is the Canada Dominion racetrack? Suddenly, I saw a map of Alberta, and it was highlighted, like lifted up above was a racetrack. And the area was around central Alberta. Now, it's not saying that no other parts in Canada are going to be under acceleration, you know, but it is highlighting a spot right now where God is going to move in an accelerated way. And there's things that have happened since this dream where, you know, there was openings to go in and minister into that area, which is really, really neat. And actually pray over that area as well, which is really, really neat. So, so that was cool. But anyway, that was opened up, and that's where the racetrack was. And so the last part of the dream, after we're done talking about that, there's a section, it's just a straight strip, just like you'd see at a school, not round though, it's just straight like a racetrack for running. And people were walking this in honor of what went on behind and what was going to happen in the future. That's what it was about, actually. And because it wasn't the end of Canada and it wasn't the beginning. We were like in the middle kind of thing. And so, well, we were in the now section, I should say. So I was not seeing. People would like walk it, they would run it, you could drive on it. You know, it wasn't to compete with one another. It was just like to say, hey, I honor what went on before, and I honor Canada and what's gonna come. And so I'm just doing this as a commemoration of. And so I didn't get to see, you know, the part back there of the part they'd walk, and I couldn't see where they were walking. I couldn't see the end. I saw the part right now, what's right in front of us right now. And just like the logs, they were whittled away right in the middle section right now. And so that was symbolic of time frames. With dreams, sometimes God uses different things to show you time frames. So that was his way of showing me in this dream that this is for now. This isn't for like 2 decades from now or what was in the past. This is now. Okay. Anyway, so then I saw somebody walking it, somebody jogging it. And then, again, they were not racing against each other. So everybody was just doing their part. And then I saw the Bride of Christ, and I was like, oh my gosh, she's going to gun it, because she's got a motorbike, and I would have gunned it. And she was just like, not gunning it. And I'm like, why isn't she gunning it? Then I got a close-up zoom, and I saw a bunch of clay pots around her, and they were bright. They were very bright colors, like bright like this. Actually, one was like this. It was bold colors. It was not pastels and, you know, everything sugar and nice and spice or whatever. However that rhyme goes, it was bold. And it was bright. This is my kitty cat here really quick. Say hi, Rambo. You don't feel like saying hi? Okay. So bright yellow, bright blue, bright orange, whatever, red. Actually, it's more primary colors, but they're all bright. And they're attached like a net, but not as small as a fishing net, like rope like the size of my fingers were holding all these pots together. Excuse me, braided ropes all around her vehicle, her hanging off of her, like a sack off of her motorbike, and as well behind her motorbike on a trailer. So they were attached, and so she couldn't speed, she couldn't gun it, because if she accelerated too fast, it would break these pots. Now, these pots were already kilned. They weren't still having to go through the fire. They were already gone through the fire, okay? These were kilned, and they were ready to be used. They were emptied and ready to be used for, you know, something, okay? And they were shiny and bright, about like this big. Okay, and so then she goes, and then basically that was the end of the dream. So if you want to know interpretations of this, I mean, it's taken me 15 minutes just to share this dream, my goodness. For full interpretation, I think it's like 27 minutes. You're going to hear a repeat of some of this stuff, but you're going to hear more in depth of it and the meanings of it, of the different things. Most of it, not even all of it, because you can always go deeper, you know. But yeah, it's a video, so anyways, I just want to encourage you that no matter what we see right now, oh yeah, okay. The most important thing, what I want you to get out of this, if you don't have time to watch that big long one. Now, a year after this, I met the woman that was standing beside me who worked. She said, I work at the Canada Dominion racetrack, okay? I met her a year later, and it was just shortly, I think it was just, I should have wrote this down, but it was so close to Canada Day week when I actually met her again the following year. Now I say again because I had a word for her. We were at this little house meeting, and we ended up praying for her, and I got this crazy ballistic word of this really dominion authority that she was going to carry. Now sometimes God will show a person in your dream and they don't look exactly like they do in real life, and he will hide, almost disguise it for a reason or a purpose. And that's what happened in this particular one. He didn't let me know who she was until after, and the reason why I found out it was her that was in the dream is because she heard me laugh and she recognized me. I have a distinct laugh, and I'm not laughing on this video. I'm just not. But anyway, it's very distinct laugh. She says, oh my gosh, she said, you're the one. And I'm like, I'm the one. I'm the one what? I'm what? And she said, you're the one in the dream. And here she has the same, not everything I had in the dream, but in that part of the dream where we were speaking and talking, it was more than a dream. It was actually an encounter that was going on where we were actually communicating, even though it was a dream, where we were actually connecting, communicating. She recognized me at that point. And at that point, I recognized her. And guess what? She worked at that racetrack where it was highlighted over central Alberta, over the whole Masquatchie tribe, Hobima tribe, you know, going down towards Red Deer and stuff. That's exactly where she worked, at that exact racetrack at Wetaskiwin. Woohoo! God's so cool. So, anyway, that was done for different reasons, but we actually got to pray. She actually came to pray. We got to go to Wetaskiwin later through a dream that another friend of mine had, and we knew we were to go to Wetaskiwin and pray over that region, and she came along. I mean, just for just the words she got, the Lord gave her about carrying this dominion for her people, where she'd be able to, you know, speak. There's going to come a time where she'd be able to speak. And now she is full blood, by the way. In the dream, I couldn't tell. The Lord hid it from me, but she was full blood First Nations and from the Masquatchie tribe there. Woo! So there's another video that I have on my Facebook, and it talks about a baton that's just about to be passed to the First Nations at this time. They're about to come front and center, by the way, in this nation. And you're about to start seeing more and more of that happen, and not just in their First Nations geographical locations, but I mean they're going to be coming in, and we're going to be stepping back and allowing them to come in and give them their place to do what they are to do and what the destiny that God has for them. It's going to become more clear, and the church is going to greatly benefit by this, because I saw, and the prayers that we did were to walk red and white together. You're going to start seeing us walk together. Oh, it's going to be awesome. And I'm actually already seeing it. I'm actually starting to see trickles of it happen, and I'm very excited about this particular year. There's something on this particular year where you're going to start to see it. And if you want to hear more about that, I have another video about that. Okay, this video is almost going to be 27 minutes. My goodness. Okay, but it's not, because I'm done. I'm done, okay? I'm done. That's basically it. So, so the identity, I just wanted to say, the reason why there was the white and the red inside of her, there was no longer a war on the inside. It was like there was peace, you know, and the two were able to walk together as one, because the oneness, remember the teeth I saw, the unity, the bride of Christ, and the love that exuded out of her. When we come into him, it's not about, it's not that you lose your race. It's not that you lose all that. No, it's just heightened, and you're able to do what you're called to do in your particular redemptive quality for your culture that God had designed for you before you were ever even born into the earth. But it wasn't either or, it was all, and coming together to do what he had called us to do together for Canada. So I am excited about Canada right now.